What's good, YouTube? Super Insane 18 here, bringing you our first ever live duel. You've got myself piloting Gouki and my buddy George, who's going to be piloting Dogmatika Invoked. You can see here that I win the dice roll and elect to go first, so let's go ahead and jump right in. You can see starting out that I'm actually going to activate the Sky Striker Hornet drones to get a warrior token to my side of the field. It's really good because it's just kind of an extender that'll allow me to get into Isolde. With the normal summon of the Gouki Octastretch here, I immediately link into the Isolde and chainlink their effects. The Gouki Octastretch is going to get the Headbat and the Isolde is going to get an Octastretch since I've already used it. It'll allow for an easy discard for the Headbat effect. I'm going to then use Isolde's second effect, sending an equip spell to the grave to summon a level 1 warrior. Here I should be sending the Divine Sword and summoning out the Gouki Guts. Now that I've got another Gouki on my field, I can go ahead and activate the Headbat, discarding the Octastretch that I searched, and getting another monster on board. Now this is my 5th summon, which kind of opens me up to Nibiru, but he doesn't have it, so I go ahead and continue linking all 3 of the monsters on board to make the Appaloosa. On the summon, I chainlink both my Gouki effects to search 2 Gouki cards, and I believe here that I'm going to summon, or rather search, the Rematch and the Suprex. George decided to move his mat just for the ease of extra deck card placement. So I'm going to go ahead here and activate the Rematch, resummoning both Goukis, and I'm going to turn the level 1 into a Linkuriboh. Now this is important for later on in the combo because I am going to need to resummon that Linkuriboh from the graveyard. I'm going to go ahead and link both of those into the Virus Swordsman. Now Codebreaker Virus Swordsman on summon, if it's co-linked, can summon a Codebreaker monster from the deck. So I'm going to go ahead and summon out the Codebreaker 0 Day. Now, once these 2 are on field, I can link them both into the other Codebreaker, whose name actually escapes me at the moment, but on summon, if he's co-linked, he can summon Codebreakers from the grave equal to the number of link zones you have. I'll then turn the Link 3 Codebreaker into the Link Cross to summon out the 2 tokens, and I'm going to tribute one of those tokens for the Linkuriboh. Now this is important because those tokens can't be used for Link Summon, and it gives me another Dark on board, allowing me to turn both the Linkuriboh and the Virus Swordsman into a Rusty Bardiche. Bardiche will then pitch the Ancient Cloak to set the Shade Brigadine trap, and because there are no traps in the graveyard, I can activate it the turn it's set, summoning it to my side of the field as a level 4. I'll go ahead and overlay that with the 0 Day to make an Abyss Dweller, just to have a little bit more of a defense on my opponent's turn. Banishing the Ancient Cloak here, I go ahead and search the Boots, which I will immediately special summon from my hand, because I control a Rusty Bardiche, and then I can link that with the Link Cross into a copy of Verde Anaconda. Once the Anaconda hits the field, I can go ahead and use its effect, which will be able to pitch the Red Eyes Fusion from my deck to my grave, and then I can send the materials needed to make the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, adding yet another negate to this nasty board. So let's go ahead and send those. We'll summon out the Dragoon, and normally here I would banish the Boots from the graveyard to search a copy of Phantom Knight's Fogblade, but I opened it this game, so it's already in my hand. We're going to go ahead and use the effect of Divine Sword, banishing 2 warriors. We're just going to banish the 2 Codebreaker links to add it back to hand, and that gives us a free discard for the Dragoon. We'll set the Fogblade that we opened, do 1 more quick fan of our grave, and then pass our turn to George. I'm going to go ahead and on his standby, activate the Dweller and chain the Linkuriboh, tributing the token to summon it just for a little bit more interruption if he were to attack me, and he's going to proceed to main phase, activate the Terraforming. I meet it with the Ash Blossom in hand, leaving all my negates on field still alive, and he decides to scoop it up. Let's go ahead and jump into Game 2. Now, going into Game 2, you'll see George is opting to open up this game. He's going to go first, and let's see what he can do. So, George is actually going to lead off his turn with a normal summon of Alistair, but I'll meet that with my own Effect Veiler. He's going to upstart, trying to dig into his deck. I'm not sure if he drew into the Invocation here, or if he already had it, but clearly he's still going off. He's going to go ahead and make the Macabre, using the Secure Gardener he made and the Alistair Engrave. At this point, he's going to set 2 and pass turn. Unfortunately, not really a great board for the explosive power that Dogmatika Invoked can sometimes bring to the table, but unfortunately, as you'll see here, I'm going to reveal my hand, showing that I bricked pretty bad, so it was enough to go ahead and seal the game for him. We're going to go ahead and jump into Game 3. Now, with Game 3, I decided to open up because I lost Game 2. And we're going to go ahead and see if we can set up that same nasty board that we did Game 1. So, I'm going to lead off with the Gouki Twist Cobra and special summon the Fire Flint Lady because I control the warrior, immediately going into the Isolde, and it looks like I should be able to full combo. As long as you have a Gouki and any extender, you can make that board that I made in Game 1. So I'm going to go ahead here, do the exact same thing on Game 1, search the Headbat and whatever Gouki I already used, use the Isolde effect to pitch the Divine Sword to get the Guts, and then I'm going to special the Headbat. Now, you'll remember what I said in Game 1 about being kind of open to Nibiru because that is 5 summons right there. So he could Nibiru me here, but because he doesn't, I feel pretty safe. Once I put that Appaloosa on the board, I'm pretty much free from getting Nibiru'd because I'll be able to negate it with the Appaloosa effect. So we're just going to go ahead and continue the same combo. I believe in this game I actually Surge double rematch, just so that if for whatever reason he does stop me, I have some kind of recursion on my next turn to continue playing. So we're going to go ahead here and activate the rematch, resummoning the 2 Goukis. Once they're both on board, we're going to turn the level 1, in this case Guts, back into the Link Kuriboh, and we're going to continue with our Codebreaker plays. Once we summon out the Virus Swordsman, we're going to use its effect, and we're going to go ahead and get the 0 Day. At this point, George is just reading my cards to see if they do anything other than summoning the Codebreaker. I'm not actually 100% sure if Virus does, but the Link 3 does. Once it is, or once per turn rather, you can destroy spell and traps your opponent controls up to the number of linked Codebreaker monsters, so I would be able to do 3. We're going to go ahead and link it off into the Link Cross, summoning our 2 tokens, and he's going to Nibiru me. When I activate the Appaloosa, he meets it with an Impermanence, and at this point it's actually looking really bad for me. Unfortunately, he kind of had the combo there with those 2 cards, the perfect out to the Appaloosa actually. So I'm kind of desperately looking through my hand, fanning through my grave, seeing if there's anything that I can do. Unfortunately, there isn't, so I send everything to the graveyard, put the token in the zone that he designates, do another quick rifling through my grave, seeing if there's any sort of follow-up. When I realize that there isn't, I pass my turn over to George. Now, George is going to open up here with a normal summon of Alistair, and I have nothing to stop it, so I'm going to go ahead and just watch what he does. At this point, he actually tells me that he's going to OTK me. I kind of believe him. There really isn't much that I can do, but I do have a token ready to eat an attack, as well as, you know, maybe he messes up his combo. I tell him to show me. So he go ahead and he plays. At this point, he looks through my grave to see if there's anything he could banish off the invocation. I believe when he activates it, he's going to banish my Fire Flint Lady so that he can make the Purgatrio. Purgatrio is actually able to do piercing, so since the token is 0, it's pretty bad here. He's going to go ahead and put out the Makaba. We realize the mistake, he quickly swaps that back out for the Purgatrio, and because he has the Super Poly in hand, he's able to go for full damage, and that will be the game. I was waiting to get to Verte so I could look you dead in the eye and discard. I opened all 3 of these and still had full combo.